Folks at home, welcome back to RueTV tonight, and we are here. It is Sunday night in February, post Valentine's Day, and it is the official first episode of Sunday Night Humplik. And my guest on the show today,
Yes.
yes, I made that up. It took me about a week to think of that. I might put that on t-shirts. I'm not sure, but my guest tonight is now a four-time guest of the show,
Was it
and
four?
four.
Four?
So
Oh, okay.
I had a well, she's my friend Hannah. She's an actress. She's been in some horror movies, and she's been on the sh she came on the show for the third time last year. And I did this whole rigmarole at the beginning about how you've been on the show
Uh-huh.
three times, and you're the champion. You're the champion of a reoccurring guest. And then I corrected myself. I'm like, shit, no, wait, hold on, let me think about it. And I thought about it mid-show, and I said, no, you're actually sorry for getting your hopes up. You're actually tied with Glenn.
Oh,
And now
so now
tonight,
I'm taking the lead?
now you've busted the record. You are
Fuck yeah.
you are the official champion of
Oh,
reoccurring guests on the
oh, this
show.
is an official rivalry now. I love it.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is like Canada versus USA.
I'm
Let's
gonna tell
let's go.
tell Hannah all the way, and that your record has been shattered. My good friend Hannah Fearman. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So,
Nice,
but
nice, nice. I like it.
yeah, there's it's been well, the last time. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people who are watching this who saw when the last time you're on the show, but it was
Dude, it's been a while, right?
yeah, it's been a while. But then, like as you get older, you can attest to this. It feels like time goes faster, so it didn't feel to me. It didn't feel as long as it was, and
Was
the
it
official.
was it was it pre-COVID?
No, it was 2021. It was like it was during COVID,
Oh,
2021.
it was. Okay.
2021. Yeah, so it was 2021, two, three, four, five. So yeah, it was like 4 years ago.
So I was
Crazy.
in the depths of depression at that point, probably,
Yeah, yeah.
like everyone else.
We're pretty depressed. I mean, not unlike we're depressed now with other things, but
Yeah.
not COVID related. But yeah, how you been? I think it's just
By the way,
how you been?
just
What's
to let you know, I
yeah.
just spent the last 15 minutes of my life trying
Mhm.
to make my fat old face look as good as possible. And so this is what you're left with.
What'd you do? A
So if you're
filter?
not if you're not comfortable with this, like I actually shaved for you. I shaved. This is a clean shave for me.
It's a clean
Haven't done it
shaven.
in a while.
It's a clean shaven Glenn.
Yeah,
Look at that.
speaking by the way of lockdowns,
Yeah,
I'm gonna share
yeah.
what's going on with you outside today
Show us what's
here
going
in
on in the Ottawa winter.
Ottawa, Canada.
Yeah,
This is my home.
that's where Glenn lives. Holy
Yeah,
shit! Look at your car there.
yeah. Oh, there's the plow driving by.
There he is.
Yeah,
At least they have plows there, so that's
this is
good.
the snow I'm going to be shoveling in about 3 hours from now.
Hmm.
There's my neighbor shoveling. Yeah.
Shout out to the neighbor. What's the name? What's the name? Jim.
I actually have no idea what his name is.
All right, we'll call him Jim. We'll call him Jim.
I think he may be Asian, so
All right,
probably
Jim.
not Jim, but um,
Well,
yeah.
he's so are you waiting for all the snow to come down to start the shoveling? Is that the plan?
Yeah,
Or you're waiting? Yeah.
so I live in Ottawa, Canada. I love living here
Right.
from April 1st to about the end of November.
Right.
Things are great. But
Right.
then from December 1st to the end of March, this place is a fucking prison basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a foot of snow 4 days ago, and today we're getting another foot of snow.
God. I mean,
Oh, it's just
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, just from
I'm cracking right now, so this is like a
yeah,
good distraction for me because mentally I start going crazy. It's like
yeah.
it's like UFC, like Mother Nature is fucking fucking loser.
Right now. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like the older we get, the worse it gets because of two reasons. You
Oh,
know,
it's brutal.
we're not playing in it like little schoolboys anymore. And then
Yeah.
also the older we get, the more tougher it gets to shoveling snow is no joke. Like when it's a physical, I mean, even here we don't even get close to a foot of snow. Still, like when I get done, I feel like I just want to like collapse on the couch. So like
Yeah.
you shoveling, it's
Oh,
crazy.
and
You
my
know?
wife too. Like I've become such a bear and unbearable.
Yeah.
She kind of goes crazy listening to me complain about the weather, like on and on. It's
Well, I
also
mean,
just the darkness as well. It gets to me. So
yeah. But
anyway,
you
this is
escaped.
fun.
You escaped for a while though, Glenn. You escaped as
I did.
we'd been chatting for a bit about where you were. Tell the nice folks at home where you went for the oh, it was a couple weeks ago, right? Or last month it was
Yeah. Yeah.
up until last week, I think, right?
So, like most Canadians, if you can afford it, and I'm lucky enough to be able to afford this, I get the fuck out of Dodge
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks at least, just to get a bit of sun and stuff. And this year, my wife and I decided to trek around Mexico. So
Awesome, awesome.
we went to Mexico City for about 4 days. We went to Guadalajara for 5 days. Then we went to Puerto Vallarta to meet some friends
That's
of
right.
ours for a few
That's
days.
right.
They have a place there, so we got to free lodgings, and so that was nice of them to invite us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was fun to get away, get some sun, get some Mexican food for 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
oh, it's an awesome time.
Well,
Yeah,
there was a rumor on the internet that you made a preemptive strike about the diarrhea, the cholera, and all that by
oh
taking
yeah,
some medicine preemptively to prevent
yes,
you from the. Is that a common thing? Like, should people like if I, you were talking about if I were to go there, hopefully one day,
yeah.
set me up in an Airbnb or something. If I go there, it's a smart thing to do is to preemptively do that instead of taking my chances and drinking the water there and
I
become
I've gotten sick.
profusely
Yeah,
shitting, just profuse, like steady stream of shit, right?
my wife travels a lot for her work,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
when I can, like sometimes I'm lucky to follow her.
Yeah.
And in 2 years ago, she had to go to Cairo, Egypt.
Oh,
Um,
wow. The
yeah,
pyramids,
for yeah, so
pyramids.
for some meeting thing majig that her work was paying for,
Yeah.
and we had points, and she had a free hotel. So I'm like, I'm coming. So I went to Egypt with her for a week, and I ended up getting what I would call as torrential diarrhea for
Oh,
yeah, it was pretty bad. So
yeah.
I ended up going to they have pharmacies there. You don't need a prescription, right? You
Gotcha.
just
Gotcha.
sell it to you. And I went
Yeah.
up with my Google Translate and I wrote in help, I have diarrhea. And then I showed it to him and it translated into Arabic. And then, of course, he laughed and then he starts looking through a drawer and he's like, and then he tosses me some box that's all in Arabic. And
Yeah.
he goes, good, good. And I'm like, okay, $3. It's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
here's $3.
That was,
And, uh, and anyways, I ended up using my Google Translate to take
hmm.
a picture of the Arabic writing,
Yeah.
and on it, I got the actual name of what I was taking, and it's some drug from like 1966
Well,
that is banned in Canada.
sounds healthy.
But when you've got explosive diarrhea, I was like, what are the side effects? Is death one of them? No, 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 no. Okay, fine, I'll take it. And it took care of it after 3 days, so it worked.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. So we don't
Glad.
need these modern drugs and shit.
No.
These 1966 things work just fine.
Yeah, stick with that. You
Yeah.
know, they had and when I was young, when I got a cut, my dad would put mercurochrome on the cut. It's like a red substance.
Yeah.
probably got mercury in it. Probably messed up my
Oh, and
brain.
that stuff would burn,
Yeah,
right? When they put it on.
you
Yeah.
remember,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
It
yeah,
looked
yeah,
the weird thing for me as a
yeah.
kid was like it looked like blood. It was
Yeah,
red,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and my dad would put it on me, and it was like, oh, it burned like mother. And then
Oh, that's weird. Was that banned?
I was told they took it
Or
off the market, and
really? Oh,
yeah,
that was
yeah.
just that was normal when you were a kid to get
Well,
that
now
stuff.
I think once Neosporin was invented, I think they kind of took
Oh, is
over.
that right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Never really
But
thought it just kind
that
of
was like
disappeared.
that was my common thing in the 80s of like they would put they would put that shit on my face. Like one time I was like messing in the bathroom. I cut my hand on my dad's razor, bleeding. All right, get the Mercurochrome, dump it on. Hurts more. Mercury travels through my system to my brain. That would explain a few things in 2025. So I don't know. They took it off the market, so I guess it wasn't good. But yeah.
That's how you got your strange Philadelphia sex appeal. The
Yeah.
Mercury.
Well, yeah, that's part. That would be it. That mercury flavor.
Nice.
Yeah. So one
Good
more
for you,
thing,
man.
one more thing about the trip, Glenn. I know you had mentioned to me, and you sent me some
Mhm.
clips of it. Tell us about your experience of Glenn at the Lucha Libre event.
I know you're a big wrestling fan, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And one thing I was told is if you go to Mexico City, the one thing that you have to do is go to a Lucha Libre event.
Hmm.
And I looked it up. We were there for 4 days, and I looked it up, and they have two events a week.
Yeah.
So, and I saw it and I'm like, oh my God, of course I'm going to go to see this. I have
Yeah.
to go.
Right. Yeah.
And my wife kind of, I'm not a wrestling fan myself.
Yeah.
Like it's something that's casual, but, and
Hmm.
my wife is definitely not a wrestling fan,
Yeah. You're not gonna find too many.
but you know, I told her like, we're in Mexico City. We've got to do this.
Hmm.
So I went to an event and, oh man, so fun. So fun. Like it was just like I had a smile on my face from beginning to end. It was so amazing to
Yeah. So
watch.
as a non-wrestling fan, what was entertaining about it to you? I'm curious.
Oh, just I mean, um it feels more raw
Yeah. Okay.
than
More
WWE events.
less overproduced and more
Yeah.
state. Yeah.
It
Okay. Okay.
it
Yeah.
feels more real than something I've been to WWF events in the
Yeah.
past, like
Hmm.
when I was younger,
Yeah.
and they're kind of like overproduced over the
Hmm.
top a little bit. And this felt more like halfway between that,
Yeah.
because there is some element of that, but halfway between that and a home wrestling event
Right.
at
Okay.
you know,
Yeah. Oh
but
yeah.
there are like 10,000 people there,
Oh wow.
and it's like in this huge. It's in this 16. I think it fits 16,000 people. The arena. It's
Yeah.
this old dude, this old barn that was made in 1958, I
Hmm.
think.
Right.
And it's not the best part of Mexico City either. It's kind of sketch.
In the shady area. Yeah.
It's not the best place. And
Yeah.
so, anyways, we took an Uber there. You buy tickets on Ticketmaster, on the Mexican Ticketmaster, and I got tickets in the fourth row, and I think they cost me $29 Canadian,
Yeah. It's not bad.
which would be about 19-20 bucks American,
Right. Wow.
and right in the front. So I
Yeah.
got to, really get
Feel
the
the.
feel for it.
Yeah.
Oh, and it was so fun. Such a fun night. Like the
Yeah.
fans love it too. Like they're so into it. And I'm guessing like a WWE event now, but
Yeah, they've got
yeah.
some luchadors that they bring over to pay the wrestle
So
but
so there are guys who go from both, right? Is that
yeah,
how?
for sure.
Okay,
I think
okay,
recently Vince McMahon doesn't work there anymore. Got outed as a sexual piece of shit. But
right.
there uh they recently, when I say they, I mean the current people that run it, Hunter and Nick Khan brought in someone named Penta, who was from Mexico, who had already been in the States for another company, but big deal, like a big deal, and they go crazy for him in the United States. Some people think it's not, they wouldn't because of the language barrier, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't see that as a problem. I mean, it's the flashy out. I mean, if the majority of them, I would say the event that you went to, they all wore masks, right? There wasn't anybody without a mask.
No, no, there were.
Oh, there were. Okay.
I would say about a third didn't wear the mask.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And there did appear to be one guy, one or two guys. No, one guy who was definitely American.
Yeah.
It was really, sorry, I just can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I think I sent you the lineup. Were any of those
Yeah.
guys,
Well,
did they ever appear in the WWE?
a couple rung a bell. I think they may
Okay.
have. I don't know if they have been full time, but maybe made some trips over. But that was
Okay.
interesting that footage that you sent, and then the
My favorite was Blue Panther
blue.
because he looked like he was my age.
Glenn, if you were a superstar in lucha libre, what would your name be? Or wrestling in general, what would your name be?
Oh, uh, Happy Hump,
The happy hump.
the Happy Humper,
Hopefully not the Humplik rail, not the Humplik rail humper.
the Happy Humper. That sounds good. I'd be
So
like
yeah,
humping my opponents.
hump. Well, I mean, you could hump them into submission.
Mm,
They would never.
yeah.
They would never see the. They would never see the end of it.
Is that? I guess. Yeah, that'd make me a sexual assaulter. Maybe that's not the right.
Eh,
Maybe that's not the right thing to be doing.
be disqualified.
Maybe. Yeah.
There's a three pump limit, and you can't go over three. Four, four. Then it's
Anyways,
nice.
I'm gonna try to convince you to
Yeah,
go because it's so fun.
yeah,
It's also cheap.
yeah. I
And
remember you were telling me about that Airbnb and everything, and
the city itself is
yeah.
amazing. Mexico City in particular is just an amazing city to visit. You know,
I'm due for a vacation.
there are a lot of areas like Mexico City has I think like 24 million people. It's North America's biggest city,
Yeah,
but the thing is like there are really just like four neighborhoods that you would go to, and
yeah.
all the others are residential and sort of in the outskirts.
Gotcha. Yeah,
So it's very manageable, even walking wise, to stick to those neighborhoods that are more touristy, or some of
gotcha.
them are
Yeah,
gentrified. There's a lot of
yeah.
expats there. The food, the bars, everything is amazing. It's cheap. Um, and it's just there's an electric vibe to the city. You got to go. There's a direct flight. I think I sent you from Philly. You
I
got to
saw
go
that
down there.
link, and I appreciate the info. Yeah, I definitely would want to visit. I've never been even close to that area. I'd love to
And
go though.
we picked an Airbnb, brand new building,
Yeah,
uh, super safe, security at the
yeah.
front door and stuff. Beautiful with a view of the city, and it cost us. It was like $130 Canadian, which right now
Hmm.
would be about $90 American a night.
No, it's nothing. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
it's
if
like staying at a
especially if
Holiday Inn.
no, this place is
No, I mean
it's
like
like a five
it's
star hotel. Like
it's
it's
like stay.
gorgeous.
I mean like it's like staying at a the price wise. I mean be like staying at a
Right. Yeah,
hotel. Yeah, yes,
and
something
you
like that.
get much better, but
Yeah.
for your money. So it's a bigger bang for your buck. Yeah. So fully recommended. Go.
Yeah, I absolutely need a vacation
I'll hook
because
you up.
yeah, hit me up in the WhatsApp. Glenn taught me about WhatsApp. I didn't know about this. It's been going on for like 20 years. I've been on the internet since 1996. Never heard of WhatsApp.
Am
Glenn,
I the only really? It
I've heard of
like
it, but
every
never actually
okay.
did the WhatsApp.
It's
So now
crazy.
I'm on WhatsApp.
So in Mexico, it's funny how every country is adapting different
The
technologies at different
technologies. Yeah.
rates.
Hmm.
So you go to Mexico, and everyone has in their advertising, they have like their Instagram, their
Yeah.
X, whatever, and then they have their WhatsApp number. So
Hmm.
you can contact them
It's
directly.
interesting.
And instead of having their email, they have their WhatsApp now.
So
Like
it's that
it's
frequent, it's that common.
it's huge. Everyone uses it. Yeah.
Huh.
It's strange. And in Canada now, like most of my friends are in WhatsApp.
It's
So
interesting. I'm on it now, guys. So
there you go.
find me on WhatsApp and send me weird, strange pictures and video if you'd like. The account is open. But speaking of video, Glenn, recently we were going to talk about this too. I just saw, we were just talking about clean shaven face. I saw your clean shaven face on something called Amazon Prime because you're on Tom's
Yeah.
documentary about the show, and
Yeah.
it was very interesting. Being a longtime fan, I knew a lot of this stuff, but the way it was covered was did it justice, I felt. And tell us a little bit about your experience of going to. Well, first, was that the first was when you went to Tom's farm
No.
that day? You guys had met up before that and
Yeah.
kind of
I've been
buried.
quite a few times. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that was so you're at the farm prior to, or was that
Yeah.
the first time at the? Okay,
No.
gotcha. So I mean, I thought it came across very well. I mean, I thought that the uh the scene it was the scene of you and Tom sitting at the table
Hmm.
having drinks. And he was speaking of his cancer situation, and how he was a different person after that. That's the scene that really sticks out in my mind because I had, I've met Tom numerous times when he's come around to Philly,
Hmm.
and through the internet. When you guys had your falling out, that's kind of where with the Webovision era, during that era,
Hmm.
uh, kind of communicated with him through then. I had never seen him get emotional. And in front of you, he was getting a little bit emotional talking about how he remembers being that person, pre all this negativity coming into his life.
Hmm.
Um, did you notice that as the shift in Tom back then, when the shift from the early days of knowing him as a friend to whatever point he was talking about then? I don't know what year it could have been, but he noticed he just was
That
saying
was
his
2000 and
two,
it
maybe
was right.
three.
No, it was 2000 that he was diagnosed. I think. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
So what was your
Which was strange because we had just begun doing a show on MTV. I think we were in season. Um, yeah, no, it was maybe halfway through our run,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
our initial run on MTV that he got diagnosed, and it was
yeah,
yeah, it was surreal.
yeah. It's
Plus, we were
great.
young, right? Like,
Yeah, really
like
young.
I'm approaching 60 now,
Hmm.
and like in my peers, I'm starting to lose people. Like some people have
Yeah,
had
it's
heart
scary.
attacks, and
Yeah,
yeah, and a very good friend of mine is battling cancer right now, and it becomes normal in your life.
yeah,
But at that time, when Tom got diagnosed, I think I was like my late. I'm trying to do the math. I was probably around 30.
yeah,
He's younger. He was like, yeah. So it was pretty surreal for all of us because everything was going so well, and all of a sudden it was, yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah.
great.
I don't know. I'm just glad that it turned out all right. And
Did you get a chance? Did you get a chance to watch the full 2 hour? Was it 2 hours or so? Did you get a chance to watch it yet? Or
the documentary, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah. Oh, you
did.
did watch it. Yeah, yeah.
It's strange. I was in Mexico when it got released,
Dropped.
so
Yeah,
I ended up watching it in Mexico with some friends at their place, and a little surreal to be in Mexico watching the story of your life a little bit. But
yeah,
um, yeah, it's I. I was telling Tom this. The cool part for me is I have a teenage daughter,
yeah.
and she's 17,
Hmm.
and she kind of knows that dad did stupid
TV.
shit when
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
younger,
yeah, yeah.
but this kind of um, just kind of pieced it together all into one, and
Right.
she got to see the whole history of what I was involved with, and that was the fun part for me. And my wife as well. We weren't together, so there's a lot of stuff she didn't know either,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was kind of
Neither of them know about the blue face paint and then the French kissing. No, none of them
Oh,
know.
she knew
Neither.
about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn it! I thought
yeah.
maybe that would be the one thing that they didn't find out. And
No, no.
then,
I had a
I
I had a I don't maybe I shared this story with you.
don't.
Maybe not.
I don't remember.
I was when that came out, I was at a Blockbuster once.
No, I don't think I heard this.
No, I was at a Blockbuster here in Ottawa when there were Blockbusters,
Mhm.
and that video was on the shelf.
Oh yeah, put that on. They put that image on the cover, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I was standing next to an older couple, probably my age today,
Yeah, yeah.
and she picked up the box and she goes, and I was standing literally right next to her, right? And she goes, "This is so vile and disgusting. How could they do something like this? This is yeah." And she put it back all angry and mad. And I just put my head down and went, "Oh, yeah." Got a good laugh out of it.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine how many times that story repeated itself over the years. People seeing it at Blockbuster mad. But
Yeah,
it
I can
was
imagine.
funny. Yeah,
I do.
it wouldn't look. It wouldn't have been my choice of a video cover, to be honest.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, man, it was cool seeing Phil again on the show. I mean, I know a lot of people probably haven't seen him since God. I mean,
Yeah,
unless you're following on social media and see you guys golfing or something. But
I see him like once a week.
yeah,
So
he's doing all right. He's still hanging in there, Phil.
yeah, he's doing good. Yeah, yeah, he's always doing good. Phil and I are going on a cruise together actually next week. So I'm
Oh,
going to be
nice.
spending 7 straight days at sea with him. So that should be
Holy
fun.
shit, nice.
Yeah.
Where's the cruise going to?
We're going to Bahamas
Oh, the
around
Bahamas.
there.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
that. Yeah, you went
yeah.
there. I feel like you've been
He,
there before. I'm having
yeah,
flashbacks.
it was cheap and he's going crazy too. So
Yeah.
because of winter, so we're
Okay. Just kind of stir crazy. I can imagine,
yeah,
especially in Ottawa, you gotta be like losing your effing minds, you know? It's gotta be like
yeah, yeah.
gotta what's that?
He's in between jobs right now too. So
Okay.
or maybe semi-retired. I don't know. He's talking about it. So
It's
he's got a little
crazy
bit
to
of time
it's
off.
it's crazy to think it's like retired and that era of or that stage of life is quickly approaching.
How close are you?
Oh, I'm not well, I've got a ways yet. I've got a
Okay,
ways. But it's still closer than the
the beginning of it.
oh, yeah, or
You're, you're
how you think of yourself in your head because like I don't know,
yeah,
there's kind of like an ingrained age in your head. Like I don't know how old you physically feel like shit sometimes, but
yeah,
mentally sometimes you don't actually feel the age that you are.
yeah.
And when reality sets in, it's like holy shit, like this went by pretty fucking quick.
Yeah. I'm looking at retiring next year.
Oh, awesome,
From my
awesome.
current job, anyways. I plan to
Yeah.
work part time at. I want to do something I love to do as opposed
Oh,
to
I
doing
think
a job.
all right. Well, I know what that is, Glenn.
Working on a golf course.
Nope. Nope.
What is it?
The job that you're going to do is you're going to spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, working and reviving the YouTube channel Hump TV.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah. There might be, but that's part of it. Is I as you talk about aging, I do find that your energy levels are different when you get older,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and I do find after I work in a 9 to 5 job
Hmm.
working in IT,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I
yeah.
do find I'm also a parent, so I'm involved with that. And I do find my energy levels aren't the same as they used to be when I was younger. So
Yeah.
what has kind of gone by the wayside a little bit is fun side projects and stuff
Yeah. I mean,
because I'm fucking
uh,
tired.
yeah.
But
Oh, I can't even.
that's definitely I want to engage doing more creative things as well once I retire and get back into doing fun things.
Well, speaking of creative, Glenn, why the green screen behind you? What's the green
Oh,
screen?
that was exactly that was Hump TV stuff I was
Oh, that was
doing.
for the. Oh, that was for it.
Yeah,
Okay, 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 okay.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
didn't know whether you were going to do the weather report for
No,
us.
no, no. Oh, and my friend, oh, actually, creative things. You don't know this, but my friend and I have a music project called Victor 20.
Oh, cool.
And we're playing a live gig here in town in May. So if you're in the Ottawa region, you're seeing this, my friend Paul and I are playing at House of Targ, I think on the 23rd of May.
Nice.
I,
May 23rd.
I think it's the 23rd. You'd have to double check the House of Targ. House of Targ is this cool punk rock barcade
Nice.
type
Nice.
of spot. My favorite spot in town.
Nice.
So yeah, we're gonna be playing there May 23rd. So we
Speaking of
got
speaking,
got
yeah.
some music to finish off before then.
Speaking of music and friends, between the last time we talked and now, I think it was actually last year or the year before. I think it was last year. I think it was early last year. I got a chance to see our buddy, major entertainer Mike Hickey,
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
and
yeah.
of course we can't
Neil
say we
Hamburger.
yeah, and open for Neil
Okay,
in Philly, one of my favorite spots, Philomoka, and that was a it's a place. It's sort of like a indie kind of art house, punk rock kind of little space, art
okay.
space, and it was really cool seeing them there. And
Yeah,
a weird thing, and I was telling you a little bit about the when we were mentioning about Tom and the Webovision days when he was doing the web show,
yeah,
and I had casually, I of course I remember Mike, major entertainer,
yeah.
but he was on the stage, and I will,
By the way,
I
I've been friends with Mike for probably like over 30 years.
really that long?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
shit, yeah.
We used to play in a band together.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And in Daiquiri, yeah,
That's what it was. Yeah, yeah.
and I'm still in touch with him all the time. Yeah, he's been really busy touring and stuff. So
Yeah, we have a shared love of weird horror movies, weird
yeah, yeah,
80s
yeah.
horror movies. But he was on stage and he was in the middle of his act and he was
Is
like
that
kind
your
of
first time? first time seeing him?
Oh yeah, live. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Live. Him,
Okay.
and Neil was my first time seeing Neil live. So,
Mm,
uh,
cool.
that
God,
was
he's
that.
amazing
Oh my
live,
God,
huh?
I laughed so hard. Oh
Oh,
my God, I can't
I
even.
know.
You can't even describe the pain in my gut.
Oh,
Like physical. It's physical. It's a physical pain of
I
laughing
think
so hard.
we saw him at the same time. I think because I think Philly
Touring
they played on tour.
might have
Yeah,
been
I
the
think
might have been the same tour.
around May, month of May or
I
something like
think
that.
so. I think so.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. hmm So that was a great show. But what I was telling you was on stage, Mike was going. He was just looking like kind of like riffing how he does before he gets into his you know songs, what motivates me or whatever. Yeah, I love all the weirder the better. But he looked in the crowd and he was like, I don't know the exact wording, but it was like, and there we have, and look at the crowd, and there we have Rue. There's Rue. Hello, Rue. And I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck does he know? Well, I've never met him before.
Oh, cool.
So then after the show, I went up to him. I was like, Mike, how you doing? He's like, hey, good to see you. I was like, the fuck did you remember? How do you remember me? He's like, well, I was, this is Mike talking. He's like, well, I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
always around the website when Tom was on the website. And I always remember Rue, and my real name's Ryan.
yeah.
So I was like, I always remember you from there. And I used to post videos on Tom's website because he had a section where people could upload content. And he was like, oh, that's where I
Okay.
recognize you from. So he recognized my face from that. Um, and
Mike is always, by the way,
yeah,
in
remember
tune in
with
with
everything.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like he's got like one of those brains that just retains like every single like. There's a
It's
weird
amazing. Yeah,
punk rock band that plays in Manila, Philippines, and they
yeah.
live in this neighborhood, and they do that. Like he's fuck. Yeah, I can't remember my own name, but
Yeah.
he's a different level of that stuff. That's
So
hilarious. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it was crazy. Well, here's another weird thing. I wanted to tell you this because I think before that show, I had messaged you and said I'm going to the show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when he pointed me out, the first thing in my head was, oh, Glenn must have like texted him and said, hey, there's going to be some dude there named
No.
Rue, and that didn't happen. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Mm.
It's crazy. He remembered me from the glory days of the internet, 2006. So
Wow.
what a memory. What a memory. But
Yeah,
anyway,
quite the opening act too, right?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I kind of knew, because I remember, but I would love to
Yeah.
see the reactions of people who have no idea
It's
what Mike's
his
act
act is it's
is.
really evolved over the years too. Like
Yeah,
I had not seen his act since 2018, I think, prior to COVID, because he
yeah,
didn't tour. And then this year I saw him, or last year I saw him again, and it had been like a 6 year
right.
break in between. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh my God, your act has really evolved
yeah.
in those 6 years. And it's really, it kind of things kind of morph into just
hmm
being more precise and
Oh
just
yeah,
working out the bugs and stuff. And it was, yeah, he's great.
yeah.
And Neil is just, yeah. Why did the lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers suck a giant cock to feed his heroin addiction? Like
I hate to,
non-stop.
and
Yeah.
it's relentless and
It's
it's its own thing. It's not like when you watch Neil Hamburger, it's like, oh, well, that's definitely like this guy, or that's definitely like it's Neil Hamburger. He's got his own, Greg has his own brand of, he's created another human being with its own
it
style.
well, if you look, if you, it's funny. Mike and I talked about this, and I didn't. He kind of outlined something to me. It's like the joke
Yeah.
is actually in the setup of the joke.
True, yeah. Because oh, you're right. Because like once the first half hits, your
Yeah,
brain kind of starts building
there's
the laughter of like what's this, you know?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a different joke setup mechanism that he's kind of evolved
yeah,
for himself. That's completely different
hmm
from other stand-ups. Like the joke is in the setup, and
yeah,
the actual delivery of the joke is sort of like, oh my God, like it just
right.
makes you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
It's a
I totally get
different
that. Yeah, it's
it's which makes him
entirely.
genius. Like it's just fucking relentless. Like the Red Hot
hmm
Chili Pepper jokes, just they non-stop and they never stop being funny.
Yeah, I
Eh,
wonder. I would love to know how he picks the topics. Uh, if things, I mean, like the next time he comes around, yeah. I honestly, even if I don't know how often he writes new material, and we'll get into something related in a second. But like,
he does.
I would love
Yeah.
this. I would laugh my ass off if I saw legit the same set and the same jokes. I still would pee my pants just
I
laughing.
think part of the charm is repeating some of those jokes because they are the Red
Yeah,
Hot Chili Pepper jokes are kind of dated, but it's
yeah,
almost the way he's delivering them now. It's almost like irony, and
yeah.
it's so absurd that he's making
Hmm.
jokes about relentless jokes about the Red Hot Chili Peppers in
Yeah,
2025.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's yeah, they never stop being funny. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
he says. He's just so awesome on stage. I love him. I died laughing. I was actually Phil and I went and I
Hmm.
was sitting next to Phil and we were just pissing ourselves laughing the whole set. Like, yeah.
Spills drinking, spilling the ice
Oh,
everywhere, and then everything.
so good. So good.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
I, I,
I've seen him I think 5, 6 times maybe
oh
over the
yeah.
last 20 years and it
Hmm.
just never stops being funny. Yeah.
How did you discover him through Mike, or like how did you
Through
like?
Mike.
I found
Yeah.
out about him because Tom would have him at his Hollywood house on the web show, and he would actually give him his own. So Neil would be a guest, but then also there was this thing where uh, Neil would have his own show, own call-in show
Hmm.
on the website. And that's how I discovered. I didn't know who the hell he was before that, and
Yeah.
that's how I discovered. So
Have you seen his film?
yeah, entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was genius film. I love it.
Yeah.
It's the very dark. If you guys are into dark humor,
Yeah.
dark comedy, it's right up your alley. So,
Mike has a little role in that.
oh, I didn't even notice. Shit, now I want to watch it again.
Yeah, yeah. He's in it for like a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Neil played in this what the hell was their name? In a metal band as well. He's the lead singer. And I saw him play in that metal band.
Yeah,
He's got disguise, so you don't see his face, but it's equally fucking wicked. Like
yeah.
I'll send you. I just can't remember the name of the band, but I'll send you a link to it afterwards.
This guy is with like face paint or a mask.
No, it's a mask.
Mask. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. You wouldn't know it's Neil Hamburger as the lead singer, but it's yeah, really good.
Awesome. Well,
No,
speaking of stand-up, stage performances and things like that.
oh,
A lot of you watching this don't know this, but and we could talk about it because
sure.
I've done it too,
We've talked about
and I've stopped,
it. Yeah.
and I haven't picked it up since the pandemic. But Glenn has done a fair share of stand-up comedy over the past few years. And I think most of the time open mics, and I think a few opened up for Tom a
For
few
Tom.
times.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
So give us your take, give us your experience. I'm going to leave this question open-ended.
Okay.
Give us your experience with the entire experience or process of doing stand-up comedy.
I never really, so I've always been, let's flip this. I'll start with, I've always been a massive fan of stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
Um, since I'm young with Rodney Dangerfield and Eddie Murphy and Janine Garofalo
oh
and
yeah.
like always loved stand up and it's not something I ever had the guts or to do. And then Tom asked me like to just go up one night
Yeah,
to open and to do just a quick 6 minutes and decided to do it.
yeah.
And it is the fucking scariest thing I think I've ever done.
Hmm.
Like it really, uh, my role on the TV show was really as a co-host.
Yeah,
My role was
straight man.
straight man.
Yeah,
It was always to laugh or to react to whatever Tom was saying or
right,
doing to me.
right.
That was my role. I was never the focus of
Hmm.
attention
Right.
on my own.
Hmm.
A couple of moments, but rarely, right? So I'm not used to that. And I was even uncomfortable as a co host most of the time because I didn't know what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
So for me to go up on stage and I've never been comfortable, I realize like how difficult it is, and how there's also such an art form to writing comedy,
Yeah.
so you're trying to learn the process of writing comedy and then going on stage and not make it seem like it's written,
Hmm.
that it's organic, and also it has to be funny, but you also have to be funny. You can't be uncomfortable because then the audience feels
Well, they'll see it.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah,
see it,
and definitely
feel
they're
it.
seeing it in me because I'm not used to it yet.
Yeah.
And I've had a few sets that it went well. I was just comfortable that night, and it like got good laughs and stuff.
Right.
And I've had a few bombs that were
Hmm.
so like fucking earth shattering to the ego that I was like, why am I fucking doing this?
I
You know?
the first time I did it,
Oh,
first time I did an open mic in Philadelphia,
yeah,
I bombed. Not gonna get into specifics as to why, but like
yeah,
when I was walking back to my car, I'm like, I don't want to fucking I gotta do that again. Like I
yeah.
don't want to fucking
Why? Why am I
why would I
doing
do
this?
that again? Because
It,
for me I have other outlets. Like I
yeah,
can make videos, I can interview people, I can do other I can satisfy that need to create or be weird in other ways. Like why do I need to torture myself?
yeah. It's brutal.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. When you go on stage, if you're not comfortable, you're gonna
Yeah.
suck. And I've felt that. And oh God, I went up one night. And I've been really guilty of going on stage and writing 6 new minutes every time I go on stage,
Oh yeah, yeah, okay. Hmm.
which is a really bad thing to do. I'm learning.
You're supposed to just focus on five or
Yeah,
six. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like
Same.
build your minutes. The
Hmm.
jokes that don't work, take them out and replace them with jokes that work, and build a solid six. It's called,
Right. Okay.
because
Yeah, yeah. Right.
an open mic slot is usually around 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of going up on stage just experimenting, just because I don't know. I've never done it, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going with longer form. I'm going with shorter form jokes, things I'm written, and I'm realizing like what works, what doesn't, and and because of that, when you go on stage with 6 new minutes, you're trying to. It's not ingrained in your head yet. So I went up and I had a 4 minute loop that was kind of joined together about Alzheimer's. And I
Yeah.
actually forgot the joke, the main crux of the story on stage.
Ironically.
Oh my, yeah, exactly. So I could feel myself, and the room was sold out. It was at Yuck Yucks here in Ottawa, and it was
Yeah, yeah.
sold out that night. It was
Yeah.
packed,
Yeah.
and I could feel myself spiraling into a toilet and just going down,
Yeah.
standing on stage, just like, oh my God, I'm dying. And there was a guy I remember specifically to the left of me, laughing his ass off because he was super high.
Took an
Like I
edible.
could tell he was just super high. Just
Yeah.
it was one of those
Hmm.
laughs.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
looking at him going, oh,
yeah.
this is wicked. This is
Yeah.
a wicked moment in my
Brutal. It's
life.
brutal.
And
It's brutal.
yeah, it's brutal. You
Yeah.
feel awful. And
It's tough. It's tough. I
oh,
mean, I uh I don't recommend anyone getting drunk beforehand, but I do recommend if you're able to stay sharp, some people aren't, have one drink to just take the edge off,
yeah,
so you're a little bit more comfortable. That's my experience. If you're, if you don't have to, if you're that comfortable, if
yeah.
you're new at it, once you get used to it, you don't have to do anything of that. But God,
Yeah, Phil's been doing it as well,
oh
and
really? I
and
didn't know that.
often we do it on the same nights. Yeah, and that's part of the reason we've been doing it. It was just
Yeah,
something to do during the winter time, especially because it's
yeah,
fun to just go out and just get out of the house. And but he's been going up more than I have, and
yeah.
he's kind of evolving and getting sharper and sharper at it.
Hmm.
And he Phil's a different guy than me. Phil doesn't care about anything. So
Yeah,
if he bombs, which he also has, he doesn't
yeah,
care, right? Like there's
yeah.
one night last summer where I was standing on the side of the stage, and Phil's first joke, and we were doing it in downtown Ottawa, which is sort of like very liberal.
Yeah.
Like that area is a very liberal area of town,
Hmm.
so the crowd is very liberal. And
Hmm.
his first joke was about tampons,
Hmm.
and the the military here now have tampons in the men's room
Right, right, right.
for
Trans, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
anyways, his opening joke was that, and the response from the it was almost all women in the audience that
yeah,
night,
yeah.
and the response was like, not only were they not laughing, but they wanted to kill him. And I stood by the side of the stage watching, like I was watching the audience, I was watching Phil, I was watching the audience, I was watching Phil, and I was up next as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just thought like, oh my God, like what he is
Hmm.
bombing, and but he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But me, it's like, oh, I take it personally. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not good.
At the time that I first, my ex and I are still friends, but
Okay.
but at the time we were together when I first did an open mic, and I was talking about what do you think about these jokes? Because I'd always like kind of heard people like tell write what you know, write things that are
Yeah.
going on in your life right now. So I'm like, all right, fuck, I'll just
You don't want to be you
write
don't
some
want to be
jokes. Yeah, you
you
don't
don't
want
want to
to.
be an asshole on stage
No,
because
you don't want to be an asshole. And
part of it is to be a likable person on stage to succeed usually,
yeah.
especially doing open mics.
So yeah, absolutely. So I was writing jokes about like, marriage and things like that.
Yeah.
And when you go into a room, which is ironically, not to shit on my political leanings are to the left too, but my sense of humor is warped. I don't really,
Yeah. Same.
I'm doing, they don't know me, so they're
Yeah.
seeing is a white dude doing
Yeah.
jokes about his marriage and wife, and I
Yeah.
feel like that hindered me a bit because it was like there were some silences after a
Yeah.
few where it was like,
Those are
oh,
amazing, huh?
that silence is like almost
Yeah.
that's like the depths of hell silence. I'm like, ah, fuck, I should have, you
Yeah.
know. So and then the next time I went up, um, I just didn't care. I didn't care, so I still did it. I still did more material. It was
Yeah. Was it all
couple.
new, or did you
It was
keep
no, it was
some?
all oh no, it was all new. I had to trash
Okay.
that. For that first set, I was so sick. I was so disheartened by that. I had to
Okay.
trash it,
Gotcha.
and it was a little bit more because I guess maybe my stage presence was a little bit more comfortable. But man, that room that
Look, you can
night, the
have
first
you can
time
have the best joke ever written, and
yeah,
if you're not comfortable on stage,
yeah,
the audience feels uncomfortable as well,
right, right, right,
right?
yeah,
If you're dying inside, they're dying as well because they're watching you dying,
yeah.
and that's the first part of comedy is you have to have confidence. You just have to
Mhm.
have confidence to go on stage. Otherwise, there's
Yeah,
no joke that'll work.
yeah.
And I really suffer from that. Like I'm not there comfortable. I'm not comfortable yet on stage. So
Do you ever deal with any well other than the high guy laughing, that's not really a heckler, but any
heckling.
hecklers in the crowd?
I had. It's
Tom
it's
shows.
funny. It's funny. I'm actually usually pretty quick on my feet when it comes
Mm.
to those type of things.
That yeah, yeah.
It puts me in my it puts me into an element where I'm more comfortable because I'm going in defensive mode and I'm not thinking about my jokes.
Right.
So I've had a few moments, nothing major, but yeah, they went okay. By the way, this is a distinction between Canadian audiences and American audiences. Is Canadian audiences tend to be a little more held. They hold back, kind of.
Reserved a little
They're
bit.
more reserved. Sorry, that's the
Okay. Yeah,
word.
yeah. Mhm.
And also, there's one thing is a lot of stand-up videos that are being released
Yeah.
show people reacting in the crowd, right? And
Oh,
it's almost it's like it's given the green light to people in the audience
it's a good
to
point. Yeah.
react more,
Hmm.
which most comedians don't like because it ruins their rhythm.
Yeah.
But YouTube and Instagram and stuff, because there's a lot of crowd work that goes there, it ends up it's sending a signal out to the audience that it's
Hmm.
okay for them to talk when it is not okay for you to talk unless you've been talked to or
Yeah.
a comedian is eliciting a response from the audience.
And I've noticed that
So
too. I've noticed that too. I don't know if I guess I'm in the comedy algorithm of when I go on social media through the reels or the videos that come up.
yeah,
And these comedians, half of which I've never heard of, because I need to brush up on my current
yeah,
comedians. But it's a 95%, a lot of, or I mean, not that much, but a lot of it is crowd work,
yeah,
dealing with people in the crowd, interactions, reacting. And that was always a small part of stand up in the
yeah,
80s and 90s, but
yeah.
never like the overwhelming thing. But I feel like there's a generation of people now who are just seeing that and saying, "Oh, that's normal." So I could,
Well, it's also the comedians work hard at crafting the jokes that they say on stage, right?
yeah,
Like it takes that one joke that you're hearing might have had like 50 different versions by the time you heard it. Like
right. Oh yeah,
trying to
oh yeah.
work the exact wording, the
Hmm.
exact words, the
Absolutely.
delivery of it and stuff.
Timing,
So
pacing, yeah.
so often comedians don't want to give away that joke for free.
Hmm.
They it's there for the
Oh
paying
yeah, yeah,
audience,
sure, sure, yeah.
right?
So the ones
So
you're going to see at the are
it's
the
the crowd work that's never
Mhm.
going to repeat itself,
Right, right,
and
right,
so that's why they're willing to give that stuff away because
right.
of it's a once in a lifetime thing, and
Yeah,
yeah. So, but unfortunately, because of that, it's giving a mixed message for audiences to kind of act up a little more, which is not cool. So,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm going
Well,
to see Phil Hanley actually this week, which I'm looking forward to.
oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you
And
know
close by now in Ottawa or what
Montreal,
club? Oh, Montreal.
Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
How far are you guys from Montreal? How far are to Ottawa from to Montreal? How long is
I
that?
am 2 hours.
2 hours. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
but Ottawa is yeah. So where I live is right between Montreal and Toronto.
Yeah,
So we're 2 hours from Montreal and 4 hours from Toronto.
yeah,
So growing and Ottawa has a population of about 1 million people.
right.
So a lot of bands, a lot of comedians when they tour, they usually do Toronto, they usually do Montreal, which are bigger cities, but they skip Ottawa.
Yeah.
So just growing up, like we're both big fans of music and stuff.
Mhm.
I used to go to Montreal, and I still do. I constantly going to Montreal to see shows and come
Yeah.
back right after, and just a late night.
I think the stigma is off of like older guys going to like punk shows now. I mean, I don't know. I feel like
Yeah,
because there was a while there when I was in my 30s, I was like,
yeah.
am I going to still be going in my 40s?
I don't, dude.
And
You reach my age and you
yeah,
just
yeah.
don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I don't think the kids that
Yeah,
go to the shows, even, oh, maybe a couple say who's that old dude over there, but like
yeah,
more than that, it's like who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit? It doesn't
yeah,
really. So I've always thought that I'm like, what is the age where I'm going to be like? Because it's been a while. It has been a while, but last night I did go to Philly to a show at a smaller punk rock bar in Fishtown, Philadelphia, and I had a good time. There was a good nobody, no one. It was a good time for all,
right.
no matter what age you were. There were probably
So the
people,
clubs there are 21 plus, right? Or is it in
yeah.
all ages?
Well, mostly 21 plus. Yeah, I
Okay,
mean, there's a couple art houses that are all ages, but the clubs and bars are 21 plus, of course. But
okay. So bars
um,
here in Ontario are 19, and
oh,
in
okay.
Quebec they're 18.
Oh, wow. Okay, gotcha.
So there's a little bit of a
Yeah,
I'm a
but
creep, but
but but I've always thought that I was like, am I? And it's weird that I'm saying this. But I'm just intrigued by
I tend to see a lot of acts as well that
yeah.
I grew up with as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
like a lot of old
I
punk
saw
bands and
the
stuff.
last remaining Buzzcocks member the other last year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I saw them when he was still alive. When
Yeah. When he
yeah,
before he passed, right?
yeah, 2018, I think I saw them
Hmm.
live. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, but
But
yeah, I see a lot of those bands. I go see a mix of things, but often a lot of the bands I go see play live are old punk bands and old industrial. I just bought tickets for Ministry this week with me.
oh, nice. That's gonna be a fun show for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I've tried to once I reached the age of 40, which was a few years ago. Um, I tried to make a conscious effort because a lot of people get stuck in only listening to the bands that
yeah,
made them feel good in their 20s. I
yeah.
said, like, let me just try because the internet is a great tool to, I don't have a, who the hell's going to introduce you to the music unless you
Yeah.
go out of your way to. So I made a conscious effort to go out of my way to try to discover some new music, and every year I find one or two or three new bands
Yeah.
that I dig, and it's you got to do a little searching. You can't just put on the radio.
Well,
You got
I
to.
I find I use Spotify a lot,
Yeah, me too.
and
Me too. Yeah,
often if there's a band I like, I'll do the you can choose the radio station for that
yeah,
band,
yeah. Right.
and then it introduces
Yeah.
similar bands
Hmm.
into the genre, and often newer, younger
Yeah.
bands that are kind of like in that genre, you know.
Right. 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 Yeah.
And I've discovered a lot of acts through that I love that are just younger bands, and
Yeah.
it's fun. It's a great way to get introduced to music without kind of like actively looking for it. It kind of comes to you. So Bad Waitress, that's a good Canadian band from Toronto. I think
Bad
you'd like.
Waitress. Bad. Shout out
Yeah,
to Bad Waitress. If
yeah,
you're out there, look up Bad Waitress on the internets.
yeah.
Find them. It just reminds me of the time. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but for some reason, I have a scattered brain memory. I'm thinking of Glenn and the history. Do you remember the time you hugged Gene Simmons and you got your face paint on his blazer? You remember
Oh, yeah, oh,
that?
yeah, yeah.
That was an accident, right? That wasn't meant
That
to.
was an accident. Yeah, dude. What's more
Don't bring that
what's
up. All
more
right, we'll edit that
No,
out.
no, no, no. It's cool. What's more surreal about that story is he did the makeup.
Oh, he did your own make. I didn't know that. Wow, he did your own
Yeah.
makeup.
Yeah. So before the taping of that episode, I
Yeah,
spent half an hour alone with Gene Simmons in a room
yeah.
while he was painting me as was I Paul Stanley or was I no, I was Ace Frehley.
Okay. Yeah.
And I spent half an hour with him, dude. Like him painting my face. Like it was quite possibly one of the most surreal.
Yeah.
Like I grew up a teenager in the '70s, and I wasn't a huge Kiss fan.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
my friends were,
Hmm.
and so he was like, "Who's your favorite band growing
Hmm.
up?" And then I turned around and I said, "Like Cheap Trick." Why did I just say that? And it just made for this uncomfortable. He's painting my face. And I'm like, why did I just fucking say that? Like, that was just not. But I grew up on punk rock a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah. Yeah.
too. Like, I
Yeah.
was into the Ramones and,
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Sure.
lot of the
Yeah.
British,
Hmm.
the Clash and the Sex Pistols and,
Yeah.
yeah, the Buzzcocks. And,
Hmm.
anyways, yeah, a surreal moment doing that show. But that was behind the scenes beforehand. Yeah, it's fun.
Do you think the makeup lady that was going to do it was about to do your face, and then Gene was like, "No, no, no, I'll do it."
No, no, she knew. She knew.
Oh, she knew about it. All right.
Yeah,
She,
he had told me like
I'll do it. I'll
I
do
think
it.
it was more of a marketing thing. He wanted to make sure that I
It looked
looked
good. Like, not okay.
perfect
Yeah.
for it. Yeah,
Oh, I
because
see.
when he was told the idea, so
Gotcha.
yeah, and
Huh.
him on his own too, like just me and him alone in a room for half an hour.
Yeah.
So weird.
Very strange. Very
Yeah,
strange. Strange life we live in, Glenn.
yeah, yeah. Those few that was a different kind of strange than today. Yeah, a
Yeah.
little more positive for me, but anyway,
You know
trying to
what?
make people.
Going back to that, I have a question. If you know, I'm sure he passed. He was old at the time, but like, do you remember the piano player on that show, the new show, the talk show?
Oh,
Ed,
yeah,
he must have
he
passed
passed
away.
away.
Okay, yeah.
I think he passed away.
Ed Scott. Ed
Ed
Scott.
Scott, yeah, he passed away a few years after we taped that. I think
Okay.
like maybe
Oh
4 or 5 years
wow.
afterwards. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ed
I don't
Scott.
remember. I just remember hearing it secondhand from. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, folks
Rest
at
in
home.
peace, Ed.
Yeah,
He
rest
was
in
such a
peace,
great guy.
Ed Scott on piano. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
He was
That was
such a great guy.
that was a fun summer. I vividly remember summer '03. That was a fun summer
Yeah,
watching that show. But
yeah. That was short lived, but we had a good time.
I was angry. I was an angry young man. I was an angry man. How old was I in 2003? I don't know what age in my 20s, but I was still in my 20s, and I was angry when I heard. I think I was listening to Howard Stern. Yeah, so I was listening to Howard Stern when I he broke the news that the show was they weren't going forward with it, and I was like, what the fuck? I was really angry. I was angry. I
Yeah.
think I threw something. Nah, I don't know if I threw something, but
It's I
yeah,
honestly I'm not surprised. MTV
yeah, the
at the
format.
time
Yeah,
was in the business of creating half-hour shows
hmm,
that they could play a million times over. You
yeah,
you pay to make it once and you just play it over and
right,
over and
right,
over again.
right.
And then it's just it lowers your the the value that you get out of
Hmm,
a half hour of production, which is
yeah.
expensive.
Oh yeah.
It's just never ending, right?
Hmm.
So when we approached them about doing that, they gave it a shot. But to do a live show an hour every night, you're renting a huge studio in Burbank is
Yeah,
where we were shooting it. It's expensive. You have all the crew. It's expensive.
yeah,
Um, and it was just too expensive to do for the audience size that we were attracting, you know.
yeah,
So I'm not surprised. And oh fuck, oh god, we screwed. Speaking of Indiana,
yeah.
we screwed Muncie, Indiana, pretty good. Um, I remember we were doing a thing in we were gonna do a bit in Muncie, Indiana,
Yeah.
because Letterman's from Muncie, and Letterman never really went back to Muncie to show it off. Or
Should
there was
go
and
back to his roots.
right.
Yeah.
So we decided to do that, and they threw a parade for us. I got the key to the
He's the
city.
city. Yeah.
I think they declared it Town Green Day. Like there's
Yeah.
a parade. It was
Yeah.
insane. And then we shot. That was shot on the Saturday. It was supposed to go to air on Monday, I believe.
Hmm.
And then as we flew back, we connected in St. Louis, and we got off, and Tom had a voicemail, and it was at the St. Louis airport that we found out, and he got the voicemail, and he told me uh, the show's been canceled.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. So we had from St. Louis, so we went straight to the bar
Yeah.
and started drinking, and then and this was we got back on the flight, and God, what was her name? 90s pop singer, blonde hair.
Christina Aguilera.
No, no, and not Britney Spears.
Jessica Simpson.
No,
Mandy Moore.
no. In that
Uh, let's see. Let's see. My Rolodex of 90s
she was about
blondes.
16 or 17 at the time.
Um, God, let me think. 2003.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, whatever.
she and her mom were sitting right behind us,
Okay.
and we just started pounding drinks down the whole time. She was probably and I could tell she recognized us. When we
Yeah,
sat
yeah, yeah,
down,
yeah,
she
yeah,
probably watched MTV, and she's
yeah,
watching like these two morons like getting hammered on the flight because they just
yeah,
she didn't know we lost the show. And I remember arriving in LA and I was hammered.
yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
that wasn't that's kind of like behind the scenes how we got the news. That wasn't fun, but
yeah, eh,
not yeah,
life life
life
goes on.
life goes on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Glenn, as we wrap it I'm very proud of both of us because we didn't bring up until now. I mean, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm just going to
Yeah.
state the fact, Glenn. I'm just state the fact.
Should we be mad at each other right now? Like you're American
Yeah,
and I'm Canadian?
are there people watching this like angry that we're using our privilege or something to not talk about what's going on?
I look at us as we're trying to bond the two countries back together because I can tell you right now the anger in Canada towards
Yeah,
your country
yeah,
is off the charts, unlike anything I've
yeah,
ever seen in my lifetime. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Like
We had spoken off the air a little bit about this, so get into some emotions without giving specifics, I guess. I don't know. Or you can give
uh,
specifics,
no, no,
or give specific,
just
whatever you,
just
however you
just
want to cover it.
just general overall, like the latest
Yeah,
in the news. I don't know
yeah,
if you're following Canadian news, but there's even some talk of like Canada joining the EU now, and just to kind of like break away from the States and stop, like trade between countries is going to change
Yeah.
big time in a
Hmm.
hurry. Like Canadians are canceling
Hmm.
all their travel to the States. Like that's the
Don't
reason
blame
I went
them.
to Mexico this year, and usually I go
Yeah.
down to Vegas or California or
Right.
Florida.
Yeah.
Um, Anyways, it's a thing, and it's you have to remember it's not between people, it's between
Hmm.
leaders, but at the same time, there's a lot of pissed off Canadians right now. So,
Yeah.
and then
That.
funny, I was just in Mexico, and there's a lot of pissed off Mexicans as well.
Oh, without goes
So
without saying. Yeah.
there's a real hate on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting times that we're living in. Um, but I don't think it's going to end well. I don't know how you want to take that statement at home, but it's not going to end well. One way or another. I don't think this is going to end well. That's all I'm going to say about
What's
any of it.
who did the there's a stand-up bit where um it's a horse running in a hospital. It's a loose horse in a hospital. You don't know what the horse is going to do. The horse doesn't know what it's going to do. It's a horse loose in a hospital.
Yeah.
And yeah, you
Good,
got to
good.
know what the horse is doing
Yeah.
because the horse doesn't know what it's. Yeah. So, it's John Mulaney, I think, who
Oh,
does that bit.
Mulaney. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think it's
remember
John.
that. I remember the bit, but I couldn't place it. I'm pretty
Yeah, John
sure
Mulaney. I
that
think
was
it's John
John
Mulaney.
Mulaney.
It's
Yeah.
such a funny bit,
I think
but
he and yeah.
he nails it.
Oh, he's a great comedian. Yeah, I think he and a bunch of other hosts and of course cast members tonight. I had told a couple of my friends. So what I'm talking about is SNL has their 50th anniversary special tonight from New
Yeah,
York. They had the music one a couple of nights ago.
I
But
watched part of
music,
the original episode like 50 years ago last night. I
yeah,
watched Saturday Night actually this week, the
yeah. How
movie.
was that? I didn't get a chance to check it out. Was it all right,
It was
sir?
all right. It was all
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it was kind of it's
basic.
the 2 hours leading into the first airing of the first episode,
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm sure
cool.
it's over dramatized,
Yeah,
but
of course, it wasn't probably as hectic. It was probably hectic, but not as hectic as they portrayed it.
they portray it as being a complete shit show,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
John Belushi like doing coke in the bathroom and stuff, and I'm sure, right? Yeah.
yeah, and no, it was Garland. George Carlin
Oh, really?
was coked out beforehand, or as
Huh.
in the film, anyways.
Yeah. But
And
that's
the character of Chevy Chase comes
mhm.
across as interesting.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
I, I, I I've
heard
heard
things.
not good things. So,
Yeah,
but
I've heard the same. Yeah, that's gonna be it. But the point of it is, I brought that up because I will check that out. But
is that tonight? The SNL
that's
50?
tonight. My
Oh,
plan,
okay. I'm gonna have to
my
watch that.
yeah.
Okay.
So my plan was since it is the evening right now. We're taping. Since it is the evening and
It, it
It's
will be.
Sunday night Humplik. It's Sunday night Humplik. We're going
Yeah,
head to head tonight. We're going head
yeah.
to head with the NBC SNL 50th anniversary special. We're gonna blow them out of the water, Glenn. We're gonna blow them out of the water in the ratings.
It's
Everybody,
good. It's gonna be on global TV here.
yeah. Oh, well, maybe we'll slightly blow them out of the water. We'll blow them.
It should be good. I'll
Yeah,
be watching it.
it'll be all right.
I know that it's become a common thing to kind of slag Saturday Night Live for some reason.
No, I mean, yeah, honestly, I
It's been
think.
going on since day one, by the way.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
I have relatives that think that it wasn't funny since like 19, 78 or
yeah,
85. I know there are peaks and valleys.
yeah.
A lot of it doesn't have to do with the cast. It has to do with the material, the
Well,
writers. Yeah.
I got to witness it because Tom hosted, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I got to witness how it goes
Hmm.
for an episode,
Yeah.
and it's shocking that they're able to continuously put out an hour and a half of TV like
A
that every
week.
single
Yeah.
week
Yeah, it's amazing.
because it is so difficult. Like as comedians, when you watch a comedian, that
Hmm.
joke has been said 50 times.
Hmm.
They're going in with jokes that are completely unproven, and
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
it is.
And live
Like
without a net.
you're going in live without that. You don't know if that joke's going to work or not. You
Mhm.
think it is based on experience of writing jokes, but on any given night,
Yeah.
you just don't know, right?
Yeah.
So it's amazing that they're able to be still as funny as it is, or considering how many shots at it that they have going into delivering the jokes, like a full hour and a half. So, anyways, I still enjoy watching it on Saturday nights. And
I can't remember if I asked you last time, but when you were on stage at the end, I think you got on
yeah,
stage at the end when they were doing the skit
I
at
got
the
credit for it, which was
credit. Oh
was like
yeah,
awesome.
I
If you look
IMDb
at
IMDb
yeah,
credit. Yeah.
it's there. I'm like, oh yeah, that's like a dream.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wicked. Yeah,
But like I've been in the studio looking down from the bleacher seats, but being on the stage, it still probably seemed a smaller space than you think. Like when we watched it for
yeah,
years, it just seems such a
yeah.
big
It seems like
atmosphere.
a really, really big place, but
But
it's not. Yeah.
it's all done in
And
that.
and the seating is weird because they're like you said, they are rafters.
Yeah,
There's people seated on the bottom, but the most of the people are at the top in these rafters that are elevated, and
yeah,
it's a different perception of the crowd when you're there.
yeah.
Oh, that was so fun.
Good memories. I thought if
That was like a dream
I gotta pull
being
that
on
up.
that stage.
I'm gonna try. I don't think I've rewatched it since Peacock had all the old episodes or NBC on demand. So I'm gonna see if I could pull that up and watch that. They've been shortening the episodes. They've been cutting out the musical guests and
Oh,
shortening some sketches. So hopefully that made the final cut.
yeah, Derek is there. My friend
Yeah,
Derek's there.
yeah,
Sean, I think Phil was there. Phil was there as well, I think.
yeah. Um. Oh
Yeah, that
man,
was
I
a
don't.
fun life experience. While doing the show, there were a lot of
Yeah.
non-show related
Hmm.
experiences that I had. My favorites were traveling with the USO. I got to travel
Right.
around the
Yeah.
world, like
Yeah.
Iraq and places like that, and
Right. Right.
I got a lot out of that. But doing just being around the scenes of Saturday Night Live for a week was, yeah, that was just something you
Well,
can't pay for, you know.
the USO tour, Saturday Night Live, MTV, all this stuff, it pales in comparison to being on YouTube on RueTV, right, Glenn?
This is true. And you know what? On a shitty Sunday night when there's a storm outside, this is a welcome break, my friend. And it's nice to see your sexy
Yeah.
face too.
Yeah, I know. It's a beautiful. We both have beautiful faces. We know you're physically unable to.
We, by the way, we made a promise to meet face to face last time. I think we
Yeah, I
spoke,
think
and
so.
we've
And never
yet to do
friggin'
that.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not that far. Ottawa it really isn't that far, honestly. I mean, we're both East Coast. I always had to remind myself that because when we're figuring out the times for the shows, I'm like, we're on the same time zone. Just go up.
listen,
You know,
come up this summer. I'll
yeah,
take you out. We'll go for drinks.
yeah.
We'll
We'll
hang out with Phil. Um,
the next time Mike and Neil are touring near you, we can do that and go see them. And
Come on up.
yeah, perfect.
Come on
But
up.
I think we've covered the
By
gauntlet,
the way,
Glenn.
Tom
Yeah.
performs locally here all the time, just to kind
Oh,
of work on
really?
material. He
Yeah.
does small events at.
How far, you know what I'm curious, how far, because Tom said, he's just said locally, Tom said, I'm moving back home. That homestead farm where he lives now, like how
Mm.
far removed is that from like the city of Ottawa? Like, is that like way far? Is that like a drive or something or?
Yeah, it's over an hour.
Okay. But it's still,
Yeah,
it's still in the area. It's like
yeah. It's not too
the
bad.
farm. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah. He's
I don't know if I could,
really
I'm an animal lover, but I don't know if I could maintain horses and stuff.
he's always been into the outdoors, and
Yeah.
I'm such a city boy.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it's
I
strange.
just grew up
Yeah.
a city
Yeah.
boy.
I'm with you. I feel more comfortable in the city where most people wouldn't be caught dead, because they're whatever, for whatever reason. Um, you know, I love animals, but I just not. I grew up on the farm. I grew up on a farm. Okay,
Oh, did you really?
grandparents next door lived on had a big farm next door.
Outside
Horses
Philly?
in the back. Yeah, yeah, South Jersey. Yeah, South
Oh,
Jersey.
okay.
Yeah. A lot of farmland in New Jersey, but
Hmm.
I never really I don't know. So more power to Tom for living that life because I don't know that I could, but uh as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. So, you know.
He loves it, and
Yeah.
he met his girlfriend, his
Yeah.
fiance now, Amanda.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
He's in a good place. Yeah, mentally, I don't think I've seen him in a good place mentally like he is
Like
right
is
now.
now. Good to
Yeah,
hear.
he's just maturity and
Hmm.
found his place in the world, and I think being he loves those animals so much that
Yeah,
it
yeah,
brings him so much happiness.
yeah,
Doesn't bring me happiness.
yeah.
I went there and I almost got ran over
Like
by Fanny.
Fanny the mule.
Yeah, she came charging at me, and it's like a tank coming at you, scary as shit. So I ended up running and jumping over the fence because I thought I was going to get run over.
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah, that's good enough. That's good. I'll watch from afar. That's fine.
yeah.
She's beautiful, but I don't need to be near that because it scares me.
Well, shout out to Fanny. The only kin of Tom I met was Charlie. He brought Charlie to Philly
Yeah,
for
yeah,
this show. So I
yeah.
did meet Charlie.
Oh, there you go.
Good girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, Glenn. So I think we're going to wrap it up right now. So I think we've
Always
covered
a
the
pleasure,
gauntlet.
dude.
We've covered the gauntlet. Always a pleasure talking to you too, my brother. And stay healthy. Hope your bowel movements are going well and they continue
It's
to go
all
well.
good.
Yeah.
By the way, and if this Hannah character appears on your show again,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, she will. She will.
okay, well, that I'm coming on the next week.
All
So
right, I will inform
I
her. I'll
I
inform her
want
because you have the record.
I want to be
Uh,
number one.
yeah, you're the number one guest.
I want to be number one.
I might keep it that way. We'll see. There is a
Actually,
jet.
I'm okay with being tied. That's fine. That's fine.
Um,
But
little,
I do if you know,
little do you know, when you become a five-time guest, Glenn, you get a jacket.
dude, you gotta get Phil on.
Yeah, for sure.
Phil's a never-ending.
Well, maybe with him not working so much now, it might be a little easier. Because
For sure.
I remember last time he was busy with his job.
Okay,
I
he's
didn't reach out though. I just assumed.
currently unemployed. It's the
Okay.
time to strike
Oh,
is now.
maybe I should strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, I'll introduce you guys and
Yeah, yeah,
make it happen. He would love it.
that'd be fun for sure. I think I
Yeah.
will. All right, Glenn. Love you, brother.
See you, dude. See you, dude. Good luck.
Folks at home, you've been watching Sunday Night Humplik. This is the best hour and a half of television you'll ever see in your life.
Number one.
Cheers, guys.